anything to say to Naseem?
Yes. Yeah, he would have a lot more fans, let me tell you. You would have a lot more fans if you wouldn't be so cocky and such an asshole.
The most famous fight in boxing's lower divisions history. Millions upon millions of views on YouTube. Tens of thousands of comments and blog posts. Articles across the web are still written to this day. But what was it about Marco Antonio Barrera versus Prince Naseem Hamed that captivated the boxing public to the extraordinary levels it did? Well, there are many factors behind it, and on today's Classic Recap, we'll be taking a brief look at the build-up to the fight, hidden conspiracies and excuses, exclusive backstage footage, and of course, an in-depth look at the fight itself.
Definitely, the Prince has more power, and I think the Prince is on his way up. Barrera's kind of maybe on his way down.
If you enjoy the content on this channel, please remember to press the like button, as it helps out more than you can imagine. After a respectable amateur career that saw Barrera win 56 out of his 60 fights, he turned professional at the age of 15 and had his first fight in Mexico City. He quickly moved up the ranks and began boxing in the United States, initially at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. It is here where Barrera made a name for himself as a ferocious and hungry fighter. Barrera, also known as the baby-faced assassin, was a relatively calm and respectable person outside of the ring, but it only took a bit of heated trash talk to turn a switch in his brain.
Privileged, stuck up, too big for his britches. They hate each other.
By the age of 21, Barrera had already become a world champion in the super bantamweight division and made a string of 7 title defenses, all of which ended inside the distance. He put his name on the big stage in 2000 when he matched up against the 35-0 fellow Mexican contender Erik Morales, which went on to be the Ring Magazine Fight of the Year, and rightly so.
With an uppercut in the right hand, and a left and a right, and lands them all. Now Morales begins to land the right hand with greater regularity.
In what many felt was a controversial decision, Morales got the nod by split decision, despite HBO commentator and boxing analyst Harold Letterman scoring the bout 116-111 for Barrera.
I mean, there was no possible way with a 10-8 round and a 12 you could give it to Erik Morales. I disagree totally.
Barrera quickly put the loss aside and began getting more victories under his belt until he eventually got the call from HBO, giving him the opportunity to move up to featherweight and take on the British knockout merchant, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Let's roll.
Hollow man, rule gap busser, lethal weapon like Gibson and Dan Glover.
Prince Naseem was one of those rare fighters you have to brand as nothing but an almighty natural talent. From the age of 7, he was taunting and knocking out guys in the gym, and that quickly correlated in the pro ranks.
The placement is emphatic. The power, 1.21 gigawatts under these conditions. Are you kidding me? Absolutely astonishing. He gets his angle better than isosceles again.
Outside of his menacing one-punch power, Hamed was probably best known for his matrix-like movement in the ring. He could make a fighter miss by an inch and punish them in an instant with his cat-like reflexes. Nas wiped the floor with his domestic rivals and quickly moved to the title level within his first 15 fights. But the European contenders in the featherweight division weren't ready for a rapidly improving Prince Naseem that, at this point, was knocking out every man that would get in the ring with him.
And there was nothing he could do about it. What a punch, what a delivery, what hand speed, and what a result.
After winning his first world title in 1995, Hamed went on to defend his crown in the UK and America, beating every top contender of his time. Most notably, his 4-round thriller with the 47-1 Kevin Kelly that resulted in 5 knockdowns being scored.
There are only 4 rounds of it, but it was spellbinding, compulsive viewing.
Once every noteworthy contender was dealt with, Hamed was more than happy to take on Marco Antonio Barrera, after HBO offered him the fight on a multi-million-dollar deal. The training camps for both fighters couldn't have been more different. Barrera was training like a Trojan up in Big Bear with his mind focused on nothing but the fight. Hamed, on the other hand, was already 60 pounds over his fight weight limit after he was left unable to train following his penultimate bout with Augie Sanchez, where he apparently broke his hand.
Down the front of him, left, right. And once again, you see the awesome punching power of Prince Naseem Hamed.
The weight loss was just one part of the problem Hamed had. Legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart turned up at the last 2 weeks of camp to oversee the final preparations and watch Naseem spar, but what he saw was far from a fighter ready to take on Barrera.
Hasta luego, as I say in Mexico. See you later.
So Manny, are you happy with what you saw in there?
Not really, no.
He was slow, unbalanced, and missing with wild shots, much worse than he normally does. As fight week approached, Hamed's weight problems would come back to bite him. He knew he needed to lose a few more pounds before the weigh-in, so the very night before, he was shadowboxing in his sauna for hours on end to lose the weight. Probably not the best thing to do just 30 or so hours before the contest.
Undefeated! Undefeated!
3 rounds, the Nas, the king, the daddy, the mother of all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hamed.
Saturday, the 7th of April 2001 was the fight day of the highly anticipated showdown. A packed-out MGM saw the fans on their feet with excitement as Nas made another one of his extraordinary ring entrances. Barrera entered the ring with a record of 52 wins with 3 losses. Hamed, a perfect 35-0 with 31 knockout victories, and at this point, he was regarded as a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. But being an underdog only made Barrera come out stronger as round 1 began.
As he moves up in his first major fight at featherweight. Totally unpredictable mix. And he's hit by a left hook and hurt! Big shot! And he was all over the place, Hamed!
It was a good shot. Barrera is very, very sharp. Can Hamed now take the power of Barrera? This is where Barrera is good when he puts combinations together.
Barrera shocked many analysts by boxing in a more controlled counterpunching style in round 1, as opposed to his normal come-forward Mexican style. Nas acted unfazed, but I'm sure he knew he needed to bounce back over the next few rounds to stamp some authority on the contest.
Hamed can't quite get his punches off. He's trying to spear him with that jab, but he's out of reach with it all the time.
Floor, he's always getting up. The chin very high from Hamed. Barrera catching him with quite a few shots.
Cuts have very rarely been a problem. Great right hand. Barrera well picked. Oh, another left hook from Barrera. Rocked back, but stays upright.
Good body shot from Hamed there with the right hand. His great power. He can hit fighters when they don't expect it.
Almost like a cobra waiting to strike, but he's got him with another left hook. He rocked again. Looked like he was going to go, but stayed upright.
Oh dear, just did a head working.
Again, Barrera's wide slap, left hook.
At the end of round 4, Barrera had won every meaningful exchange so far. He made Hamed throw first, while he picked off some solid counter shots and got himself a healthy 4-round lead on my scorecard. But Nas came out in round 5 and started to impose his strength on the Mexican, landing some clean punches and becoming more aware of the shots coming back.
Palm Springs, California, Barrera in the Spartan snowy mountains. There's that right hook again, used the elbow as well, Hamed roughing him up close in. He'll be the stronger man, I would think, of these two, the big featherweight against the super bantamweight. It's a bit better for Hamed. Oh, big left hand from Hamed. He smiles, he sneers, and Barrera says, so what, effectively. Waves him back in. That was a good shot by Hamed.
Round 8 was the hardest round to score so far. Hamed started strong, but Barrera came back and landed the more eye-catching shots towards the end. I, personally, felt it was a 10-10 round, but Hamed is still down by a few rounds on the cards and needs to finish this fight as strongly as possible.
Well, you have to give this guy those rounds. What? You're not going to win this round? Listen, listen. You let it.
Wave a hand on points. If this fight goes the way it's going right now, you lose your championship.
And off we go again.
Still looking for the big right hand.
Good shot again from Barrera. Trying to feint his own attack. And has clawed his way back into the argument. Oh! But he's come by another left hand! All over the place. Left himself open. And it looked so bad when that happened. It looked so very bad. He did against Augie Sanchez when he was on the floor. The referee didn't get it. There's another. Cracking Barrera's shot. Starting to drive the shots through. Big left hand. And Barrera inks it up again. Like blotting paper.
Barrera gave Hamed a complete boxing lesson in the 11th, which widened the scorecards even more, leaving Nas in knockout as the only possible option to win the fight.
There's never been anything like this.
There hasn't, but this is a guy in Hamed with immense pride. You know, he'll still have something left. He'll still have something he wants to give.
12th round. We haven't been disappointed by this. Hamed has just got to gamble. He really has. But Barrera is starting to loosen up and looks like he wants a stoppage. I don't think he trusts the judges.
I don't think he does, and after the Morales fight, he has very good range. And he's doing a number on Hamed now.
He really is. He's taken over. Another right hand.
And he's took some good shots, and he's still in there, still trying.
Oh. Barrera exacting a bit of revenge of his own. He's got something to say to Hamed as well in that industry. He's got very bad tempered. 1 point off for Barrera.
Despite the point deduction in the final round for Barrera, he won the fight 7-3 with 2 draw rounds on my card, and thankfully the judges saw it that way as well, and Barrera pulled off one of boxing's biggest upsets of the year.
Tell him that, man.
Let's hope England likes him a bit more now he's lost.
I'm still proud, 100% proud about Nasser.
Well, Jez, that's just the way it goes, my man. I tried so hard to knock him out. It's not that I relied on that power, it's just that I wanted to knock him out so bad. I trained so hard. And it didn't happen. I suppose that's just the way it's written.